Greetings, Scrumcademy Cadets. Welcome to the elite CSI-T32 unit led by Sergeant Grand Scrum Master Adams. Our pursuit of Scrum excellence has taken us through the minds of the product owner, the developers, unraveling the mysteries and exposing the elusive Scrum Dom. Now our investigative lens zoom in on the beating heart of Scrum, the Scrum Team. These individuals are the powerhouse behind successful sprints and the champions of collaboration. As we enter the next phase of our complete Scrum investigation, we are about to interrogate, question, and decode the secrets within the Scrum Team. But before we commence our in-depth investigation, let's remind ourselves of the Scrum Miranda rights for the Scrum Team. Introducing the notorious Sprint Squad. Sprint Squad. You have the right to remain agile. Anything you collaborate on can and will be scrutinized in the court of Scrum. You have the right to deliver amazing customer value. If you cannot deliver amazing customer value, an increase in velocity will be expected and a daily stand-up will be arranged for you. Do you understand these rights as they have been explained to you? Sprint Squad. Now let's unveil the charges the Scrum Team is currently facing. Scrum Team, Sprint Squad, you are charged with collaboration conundrum, daily stand-up shuffle, backlog blindspot, velocity veil, retrospective residue, and Scrum Master Mismatch. As we step into the CSI-T32 Headquarters interrogation room, we'll be examining the collaboration dynamics and assessing the overall health of the Scrum Team. It's time to pose the questions that will lead us closer to exposing Scrum Dom's hideout. Stay tuned, cadets. This promises to be an episode filled with revelation, team dynamics, and the pursuit of Scrum excellence. Fasten your seatbelts. Grab your detective hats. Grab your magnifying glass. Grab your badges. Grab your ducks. And join us as we embark on the next leg of our Scrumtastic adventure. Welcome back, Scrumcademy Cadets. Do you have your Scrum Detective Toolkit, your badges, your detective hats, your magnifying glass, and also your ducks? Sprint Squad, you can make this easy or you can make this hard. Where is the notorious Scrum Dom's hideout? We want to apprehend him right now. Still not going to answer. Okay, I tried to make this easy for everybody. But okay. Sprint Squad, you are charged with 6 counts of Scrum dumbness. Collaboration conundrum. Failure to maintain effective collaboration within the Scrum Team, leading to communication breakdowns and hindered progress. Daily stand-up shuffle. Inconsistent or ineffective participation in daily stand-ups, disrupting the flow of information and team synchronization. Do you know how much it pained me to say daily stand-up? Did you read your Scrum guide today? If you did, you know in Scrum we have no such thing as a daily stand-up. That might be the problem right there. See, Scrum Dom already. Backlog Blindspot. Ignoring or neglecting critical items in the product backlog, leading to overlooked user stories and potential setbacks in sprint goal. Velocity veil. Lack of transparency or accurate reporting of velocity. No, your Scrum Team doesn't do that, right? No. Accurate reporting of velocity? Your team doesn't do that, do they? No. Hey, Scrum Master Scott, can we split this story? We at sprint review. Okay, why are we splitting it? Well, the dev is done, but the testing is not. Hell no. Retrospective residue. Neglecting to address and resolve issues identified in sprint retrospectives, resulting in reoccurring problems and missed improvement opportunities. This doesn't happen if you do it. No. No, not your Scrum Team. No. This is the Sprint Squad we interrogate. Not you, right? Okay, just making sure. All right. And then finally, Sprint Squad, you are charged with Scrum Master Mismatch, misalignment or misunderstanding of the Scrum Master's role within the team, impacting their ability to facilitate and support the Scrum process. How do you plead? I'm sure some of y'all listening to this call are guilty. How do you plead, Sprint Squad? Not guilty. Oh, my Lord. Okay. Y'all gonna make me work today. Sprint Squad, what is working well today that you would like to see more of? How often do you come into the office post-pandemic? What has improved the most over the last 12 months? What has improved the least or degraded over the last 12 months? What do you need from the leadership team? How do you validate the value of what's being built? What have you planned for enhancements and production support? As you can imagine, first time I ask these questions, they look at me like I'm absolutely crazy. So let's dive with the first question. Sometimes I get surprised. Sometimes I'm surprised in my initial interrogation. What is working well today that you would like to see more of? Typically, I get some basic stuff. We would like to see more communication. Vague, right? Very vague. The team collaboration is one that you would definitely get out of this question. But I'm looking at some other things that might be up underneath the Agile umbrella. Like what? Now, a few teams impressed me by saying behavior-driven development. Woo! What? Yes. Nice. Behavior-driven development, huh? Okay. What's working well? What would you like to see more of? Their reply was behavior-driven development was one of the things they identified. Sprint Squad, how often do you come into the office post-pandemic? Many organizations require Scrum team members to come in 2 to 3 times a week, depending upon your environment. That's really just an icebreaker question. I really don't care. I ain't going to no office. This is my office right here. CSI-T32 Headquarters, right here. Absolutely. Question number 3. What has improved the most over the last 12 months? That question is going to help me, identify are they having effective sprint retrospectives and are they walking away with at least one continuous improvement item to go into the next sprint. And B, I'm looking for, some level of that they actually tracking their progress. So I asked that extended over 12 months. Tell me, what has improved the most over the last 12 months? And I'm looking for that answer. I get things like better planning and better execution of business expectation. Another thing they identified was that coming into the office 2 to 3 days per week has actually helped them to deliver a better and more robust product at the end of the sprint. Question number 4. What has improved the least or degraded over the last 12 months? Well, I like this question. If you're in IT, typically you're going to get an answer centered around the environment, stage environments, production environments, pipeline issues. Yeah, that question helped me identify how stable is the environment in which we're working on, be it stage, be it production. Now, in week 1, when I looked at the product backlog, remember I talked about that technical debt? Yeah. Now I'm still asking a question kind of like zeroing in. So hopefully they can see how technical debt may be impacting their environments. Because if you have technical debt in IT at some point in time, if you're not dealing with that technical debt, if you're not paying that technical debt back, at some point in time, the site is going to crash. And that happened to me one time, and that was not a pretty experience. In fact, that was on Thanksgiving Day. On this particular Thanksgiving Day, I figured I wanted to experiment with frying a turkey. I just completed one turkey. It didn't even make it into the house. It was so good. Luckily, I bought 2 for that Thanksgiving Day. And I just finished taking that turkey out of the hot grease. My cell phone rang. I looked at it. Before I even answered the call, I had already predicted the website crashed. And lo and behold, website crashed. Of course, all hands on deck, and I had to cut my time short with family on Thanksgiving Day. Now, I've been talking to the product owner about the technical debt and the negative impacts that could come from putting new code on top of technical debt when your environment is unstable. At some point in time, London Bridge is going to come falling down. Nice. Question number 5. What do you need from the leadership team? That question helps me really identify what kind of relationship is there with the Scrum team and the greater organization. If there's any communication, what does that dynamic look like? Some of the answers I get is centered around we need to have increased communication with leadership, but to understand the overall roadmap, we're building this small nugget of something, but we would like to see as a Scrum team as far out as we possibly can see so that we can not only build what's good for today, but if we have sight beyond what we're dealing with, then we can plan accordingly right now for what's upcoming some point in time in the future. Question number 6, how do you validate the value of what is being built for the customer? Oftentimes I get a strange look on their face, and then somebody will quickly say, oh, we do that at the sprint review. Sprint review I was just at yesterday or last week. Who was the customers? I didn't see any customers at the sprint review. Oh, we sent them a PowerPoint. What? What? Wouldn't it be better if the customer is actually at the sprint review looking and playing with what we built to give us feedback in real time? Yes, indeed. So how do you validate the value of what's being built? Sprint squad. Other than the sprint review. Other than the customer being there at sprint review giving you feedback on what we just did. Typically, I don't get many answers beyond that in the initial interrogation, but that lets me know what I need to work with them on just to get to that level of providing legendary customer service. We got to get the customer involved in the conversation. Some environments I've been in, they use Six Sigma methodology. Some of that terminology may be the voice of the customer. Some different tools and techniques you can use there if you know anything about Six Sigma. I've seen some teams who actually sent surveys after the sprint review to the customer. The customer was there at sprint review. We got their feedback in real time, but sometimes you forget to say something. You don't think about it until you're in your car driving home or you're going to your next destination and you think to yourself, oh, I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have asked that. A day or two right after the sprint review, we're going to send the customer a sprint review, a feedback survey, if you will. It talks about how did you like the meeting? Can you give us some feedback on running the actual meeting? Can you give us some feedback in terms of how can we better present you the material, the product, or whatever, or service that we're building or making for you? Just give us some feedback on the overall experience that you're having because we're really trying to create that legendary experience for all of our customers and clients. Question number 7, and our final question. What have you planned for enhancements and production support? Some companies you go into, their environments are pretty legacy, old, outdated. So what are we doing to get those legacy platforms either up to speed or some environments leave the legacy alone? The legacy is over here. And at the same time, we're building a brand new platform while the legacy is being maintained at a minimum, focusing most of our time and attention on building something brand new from the ground up because the legacy is just so bad and the cost to take that legacy and bring it up to date, A, would take too much time, B, is more of a cost issue in terms of doing that. But it's always better to start from scratch if you can, in terms of your architecture and things like that. Of all these questions, Scott, which one is the most important question in your opinion? I would say that would be question number 6. How do you validate the value of what's being built? A lot of companies love that damn velocity. They love that velocity. In most of my Scrum teams, I don't even use velocity. Because again, it doesn't tell you the right things. It tells you that the Scrum team did some work, but it didn't tell you if we created any value for the customer. So we need to think beyond just velocity and look at other things. Like what? One thing, just keeping it simple, is when we at sprint planning, all we have is a hypothesis that we believe this is what the customer wants. Even the customer has a hypothesis. I believe that this is what I want. When we at sprint planning, taking in all that work to build something amazing by the end of the sprint. Let's fast forward. Now we at the sprint review. Now the customer's here. Sometimes that moment is like this. The customer look at what we built and like, what the freak is this? This is exactly what we built for you. Oh no, I don't like that color. Can you change that red to blue? I don't like that font. Can you change that font from this to that? I don't like this. I don't like that. You see, sprint review is about that feedback, because in sprint planning, all we have is a hypothesis. Sure, we have diagrams and some pictures of what possibly will look like, and we built it as per the specs. But still, the ultimate validation is when the customer has it and using it. At sprint review, we're going to show it to them. Before they even use it, they already tearing it apart. The sprint review is just a validation point. If it goes successful at the sprint review, if we got more things the customer like than don't like, I would say that's a win. Did we offer any value to the customer? I would say so in that case, if it's some minor things. Versus if we get to sprint review and we're supposed to be building a website, it should be ready for the customer to use, and we only have one developer showing that on their local environment, which is their personal laptop. My question would be, is that done? No, that is not done. So do we have a definition of done problem? Because the customer cannot use that until we put it in production. You can on your personal laptop, but nobody else can. Some things to think about. Hope you enjoyed this here episode on the Scrum Team. I will be doing more. We still have the organization to interrogate. We have the Scrum Master to interrogate. But you know what, as I'm thinking, I've gone through the product owner. I've gone through the developers. We're going through the Scrum Team. We haven't interrogated the Scrum Master yet. I'm kind of thinking the Scrum Master might be the notorious Scrum Dom. What do you think? The product owner, they doing as best as they can based upon this game called Scrum. Developers doing the best they can based upon their roles and their responsibility. But who is the person to teach these people their role? The master of Scrum. Well, who is that? It's the Scrum Master. Yeah, we need to get that Scrum Master alone in this interrogation. The Scrum Master's here with the Scrum Team, but no, we need to have a one-on-one interrogation with the Scrum. So I'm kind of feeling the Scrum Master might be the notorious Scrum Dom. Your thoughts? Leave them in the comments below. Thank you, Scrumcademy Cadets, for joining us in this illuminating exploration of the Scrum Team, aka the Sprint Squad. We've dived deep into the intricacies of their collaboration, uncovering the secrets that propel Scrum excellence. As we conclude this episode, let's recap the thrilling journey we've shared so far in the CSI-T32 series. We began our investigation by peeling back the layers of the product owner's mind, aptly named the Requirements Riddler. In that episode, we looked at the product backlog, gave you some ideas in terms of what I'm looking at before I even talk to the product owner for the very first time. We looked at velocity chart, historical data which lets you know what the team has done. It doesn't let you know the team has created any value for the customer, but it does let you know the team did some stuff. We don't know if it's the right stuff. Our attention then shifted to the code conjurers, the developers, who hold the keys to maintaining Scrum code integrity. In that episode on the code conjurers, we looked at the definition of done, trying to get an idea of how robust or not robust the team's definition of done is. Also, I wanted to know what type of environment is it for the developers? Is it a learning environment? Do they have really the opportunity to explore and experiment with things? Or is it just follow the recipe? Those were some of the things I was looking at with the code conjurers. Today, we delved into the heartbeat of Scrum, the Scrum Team, our formidable Sprint Squad. But hold on to your detective toolkit, your hat, your badges, your magnifying glass, your ducks, because the adventure is far, far, far from over. In our next episode, we'll be turning our investigative lens towards the dynamics of the organization and also the Scrum Master, trying our best to expose the notorious Scrum Dom's hideout. Where is he? Where is she? We're still trying to figure that out. Be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any updates from CSI-T32 Headquarters. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, or leads on the whereabouts of the notorious Scrum Dom, drop them in the comments below. Your engagement is vital to cracking the case of Scrum excellence. Remember, it's not just a job, it's a Scrumtastic adventure. Stay tuned for more Grand Scrum Master secrets and get ready for the next episode of CSI-T32. In the meantime, be agile, do Scrum, and be legendary with the T32.